Xenoblade Chronicles X is one of my favorite games of all time. Well, at least the top 30, which is still really high considering I've played over 1,000 games. Hey everybody, my name is Michael, and I really like Xenoblade and I like lists. So I wanted to combine the two into this video where I talk about the top improvements that Xenoblade Chronicles X could do in a remaster. Number 6 is something that I personally didn't have that much trouble with, and that's simply because I played through the game in a huge marathon when it first came out. But the average player who plays for maybe a few hours a day is gonna have trouble getting party members into their actual party. And that's because when you unlock a party member and they become available, they are somewhere out in the city and you have to memorize where they are to go and put them in your party. It's not like other RPGs where you have an active party and then a reserve party and you can just switch them out either whenever or when you're in some kind of hub world. The solution for this is pretty simple. If a party member is available, instead of having to go and find them in New LA, you can just have a menu that will let you add them to your active party. Honestly, this is probably the biggest head scratcher in terms of game design because it's otherwise the best in Xenoblade X compared to Xenoblade Chronicles 1 or 2. Moving on to number 5, we have the field skills. Now, I absolutely despised the field skills in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but they weren't quite so bad in X, with the exception of leveling up any field skill from level 4 to level 5. For you see, you have to go on this crazy scavenger hunt. Now, in the modern day of the internet, this isn't a huge deal, but it's still kind of a pain if you want to do a pure playthrough without any guides or assistance. Like seriously, no matter how high your IQ is, it's gonna take you a long time to figure out these really obtuse riddles. Fortunately though, not only is it not required for beating the main story, you can do just about everything without having to level up all your field skills to level 5. It's really just for the completionists. At number 4, we have a problem that affects pretty much everyone, no matter what kind of player you are, whether you're a completionist, you just want to do the main campaign, or something in between. The music, although amazing, and by one of my favorite composers, is just way too loud. And despite having numerous, and I mean numerous, customization settings for this game, there is nothing to turn down the music in the cutscenes.
I am called Elma, and I command this squad. If this planet is your home, we apologize for intruding. We crash-landed here after our ship was damaged in an attack by unknown adversaries. We were hoping we could negotiate a peaceful settlement in exchange for our friends, but...
Now there's lots of theories as to why. The most popular is of course that they got the soundtrack on some kind of a budget, so the compromise was that the music would just be like really loud. Fortunately, we do have subtitles so we can at least tell what they're saying. But yeah, the voice acting, although pretty good, you don't get to always hear it. At number 3, we have something that's personally a big deal to me as well as other completionists. You see, I spent about 600 hours 100%ing this game, getting every achievement, every hologram, every tiny thing. And I want to say it really did not have to be like this. It could have been less than 300 hours even. The reason this takes so long is because the crafting requirements are just a little absurd all of the time. If you want to fight anything that's stronger than the final boss, which is a lot of things by the way, you have to craft the best, and I mean the best equipment in the game. And it always has these really high requirements. Collect 16 of this, 32 of that. And you know what? Maybe that wouldn't be a big deal, except for the fact that guess what? These are all random enemy drops that you get from monsters. Now they could do one of two things, or even both things, if they want to, I don't know, respect the player's time. Firstly, they could lower the requirements, like instead of collecting like, I don't know, 32 of something, how about like 8 or 10, so something more reasonable? And in addition to that, perhaps they could just make enemy drops just 100%. Like, I think we've had enough of the RNG nonsense in these RPG games. Like, if I have to collect 32 of something from a rare enemy and it's a rare drop from said rare enemy, it takes so many hours. Sometimes it can take like 10 hours if you're not lucky. And in addition to collecting all those monster parts, it's usually just one of multiple requirements for a single piece of equipment, and you need so many pieces of equipment if you want to do all of the endgame content. This is probably one of the easiest problems in this game to actually fix. All you have to do is change the value for the required items, and then change the drop value from something really absurd like it could be as low as 10%, 5%. Just make it like at least 50. At number 2, we have something related to the crafting system, but this is actually an even bigger problem. And that's the fact that certain things can only be crafted from doing online missions. Can you guess what the problem is? Yeah, that's right, online doesn't stick around forever, and not everybody has a good enough internet connection, which means some really cool stuff is locked behind something that a lot of players can't even use. Now, I played this game obsessively when it first came out, so I already have everything. I have every single achievement. I have tons of reward tickets, but anyone wanting to play the game in current year, yeah, you're gonna have a really bad time trying to get all that sweet, sweet online stuff. Admittedly, this one is a bit more difficult of a problem to solve. You would have to somehow make a lot of this online content available offline. I don't know how, maybe some kind of special mission mode, maybe make some additional side quests that you could repeat so you can keep getting these monster parts that you need to craft these really exclusive pieces of equipment. Regardless, I don't really think that a primarily single player game should lock anything behind online, especially the achievements, because I mean, nowadays you actually can't get all the achievements because one of the achievements has to do with Miiverse, which has been long dead. And the number one biggest thing that they could fix, but probably won't fix in a remaster of Xenoblade Chronicles X is the story. Now don't get me wrong, the story is good. The side quests and those stories in those side quests are also good. The setting is good. The music is good. Pretty much everything about this game is good, but the story is just not finished. Basically, everyone agrees upon this. When the game ends, it feels like you got half, maybe 2/3 of a full story. Like, can you imagine playing Xenoblade Chronicles 1? And you know that thing that Dixon does in that one scene? Yeah, imagine if it just kind of ends right there. It's just like, oh boy, I wonder what happens to our heroes. And you just don't find out because there's no sequel and the game just, it stops. It just stops right there. Now, I can't say for sure whether or not it would be better or worse to finish the story in a sequel or to have a remaster / remake that actually finishes off the plot, because honestly I don't know what the grand plan is for all these Xeno games. I have plenty of theories, maybe I'll make a video on some theories I have, but really it's just this one guy, Takahashi, and he knows what he's doing. I'm sure he had some kind of reason for leaving the plot where it is, but it's still kind of frustrating to have all these unanswered questions and just to have a anticlimactic ending like this. So there you go. Those are my 6 things I think Xenoblade Chronicles X could do in a remaster or a remake, since apparently the code is so specifically fitted for the Wii U, they would have to probably redo a whole lot of it. So thank you for watching. If you agree or disagree or have any other ideas for improvements this game could have, please leave it in the comments down below. I will maybe read it. Yo, when are we gonna get that Xenosaga remaster? I've been waiting forever for that thing, man.